Aries, in relationship, is looking to express itself and its fiery cardinal energy ruled by Mars in a way that's not only received and accepted, but enthusiastically wanted. So an Aries, fundamentally independent, can relate and will relate to others very happily, provided they can be themselves. So when Aries tries to relate to another Aries, you have two people doing that. So you've got two Mars-like energies interacting. And Mars is competitive, the fighter. So there will be fighting, and there'll be competition. And perhaps other signs might not like that, but these Aries people, they kind of do like that. So an Aries-Aries relationship is fiery and has outbursts and anger and so on. And yet, together they can be a very powerful team of action, getting things done. So it doesn't really make for harmony as such, but it makes for dynamic disharmony almost. It's more exciting than calm. So it's not happy families. It's strengthening each other. Now when Aries is with Leo, the next fire sign, it is perfectly well met. Leo is solid, fixed, does not go up and down in their emotional nature, where Aries does. Aries is the most emotional of the signs. So the fixity of the Leo energy is very stabilizing, and there's a very good partnership. They're enthusiastic together. The natural enthusiasm of Leo, which is primary, they don't ever get unenthusiastic almost. It's a silly thing to say, but Leo is very enthusiastic, and Aries loves that and enhances that. So you have an interplay here of two very similar forces. Fire meets fire, and they're both delighted with the way in which that works. So that's a very happy mixture. The third fire sign, Sagittarius with Aries, that tends to be even more exciting, perhaps a little bit too much. You haven't got a lot of stability here. There's an appetite for adventure and doing new things and going places and being really quite extreme. This might be the extreme adventurers or the extreme sports people or whatever, and it's very, very energetic indeed and quite purposeful, and yet purposing for this little adventure, that little adventure, and another little adventure which takes a short amount of time. It's not the energy of long-term building, because the fire it burns out. This would be very, very uncomfortable if you didn't have a huge amount of energy to support it. Now, of course, there's always other planets that may well give that. So the fundamental Aries-Sagittarius rapport is very strong. It's just very fiery indeed. No comparison to any other pair in the Zodiac. So it's likely to be in danger of burnout if you're not careful. Now, of course, Aries is also very comfortable with the air signs. And if we look at the Aries-Libra combination, these two Zodiac signs are in opposition. And so that means they share similar qualities, and yet they differ. And so with an opposition, you either have a tug of war or a seesaw. And by negotiation, you might find that it works very well, the opposition. There's also a mixture between them of Mars and Venus, which, of course, tends to go well. You have the more willing Libra energy to find harmony, find balance, look for rapport, find the common ground. Libra is inclined to do that, written into its DNA, whereas Aries is always looking for the differences that makes things exciting, the difference that makes the difference. Aries is going to be looking to do things new, and Libra's trying to just hold on to the status quo. So there's an inherent tension between these two opposite zodiac signs. Nevertheless, because they're both positive, fire and air, they are social, they're active. There's a lot of mutuality as well. So that could go either way, and it will go both ways from time to time, as it were. Aries links very well with Gemini. However, you've got this Mars-Mercury connection now, and neither of them have a lot of moderation when it comes to mental energy. Aries is typically quite mental. It's ruling the head, isn't it, Aries? So there's a mental capacity with Aries, which is more willful, directional, and Mars-like, pointing in a certain direction, whereas Gemini is much more versatile, and it's a mutable sign, so it's very changeable. So Gemini can accommodate Aries' bombasticness. I think this is correct, therefore it is correct. That's not going to worry a Gemini at all. They just laugh. There'd be a lot of laughter and fun with this combination. This is the symbol of fun, probably. A lot of energy and willingness to take risks and to go on adventures and not worry too much if nothing works out. In the case of Gemini, because nothing ever works out for very long, it gets bored or restless too quickly. In case of Aries, it doesn't matter if it doesn't work, you can always start something new with that amount of energy and the imagination to begin things. So yeah, a lot of false starts, which are absolutely fine. Aries with Aquarius meets the fixity question, which is good. Aries is cardinal, they like to start things. Aquarius likes to hold something. And in Aquarius case, you've got this mental aspect, an idea, a philosophy, a principle, a policy. They like to hold on to that for a long time. So whatever Aries comes up with is a creative movement to change it a little bit, not fundamentally, a little bit, So it's a good combination. It works very well indeed. This is possibly one of the best things that Aries can find is an Aquarius to play with. And they do play. You've got the Uranus aspect of Aquarius, which is highly energetic on the mind level, and that meets the appetite that Aries has for newness. Aries is all about newness and beginnings, isn't it? So Aquarius can give that with Uranus. The Saturn aspect of Aquarius is just going to bring it down to earth, unlike the Aries with Gemini kind of thing. You've got this earth thing. So the Aries mixture with Aquarius works particularly well. Now, if we look to the negative signs, as they're called, the earth signs and the water signs, you have far less obvious rapport. The positive signs like each other, the negative signs like each other, but to mix positive and negative, there's an extrovert-introvert question to look at. There's an energy gained from going out to energy maintained and restored by staying in question. So all of the negative signs are going to be a little bit frustrating sometimes for Aries, who wants to go out and about and be adventurous and heroic. So let's look at them one by one. Aries with, let's take Taurus, for example. It's an adjacent sign, Taurus, so that's a semi-sextile, more or less. And there is some greater rapport between these semi-sextiles than there is between one sign and its quincunx. So we can say, I think in confidence, that normally speaking, the adjacent signs are happier mixtures than the ones almost in opposition, the quincunxes. There are examples where that's not really true. So Aries is quincunx to Scorpio. You would expect that to be difficult, and it can be. But they do have Mars. They share Mars as a ruling planet. So that helps. But we're looking at Aries Taurus for the moment, and we have the fixed earth of Taurus. Like, it's stubborn, and it's not very adventurous, and it's not very energetic by Aries standards. So Aries is going to find that both frustrating and challenging. And it doesn't like frustration and gets angry, but it does like challenges and gets determined. And that will happen from time to time, one or the other. You know, you're going to get both of those happening. And I had this combination with my sister. I'm Taurus through and through, and she's Aries through and through. She has 5 planets conjunct in Aries. And we had fights. And the fights would go, she'd get really, really angry, and I'd just say, calm down. And that would make her all the more angry. And yet, neither is much intimidated by the other. Each has an ability that the other just can't understand or match. So Taurus has this capacity just to take it all and not be disturbed. And when Aries is getting all kind of angry and forceful, Taurus is just saying, calm down. You know, it's not disturbing. So actually they can get along fine. They're not natural bedfellows, as it were. They don't share the same worldview at all. But they can get together because there's a dryness. You know, earth and fire is dry, isn't it? So it's just kind of workable, but not, obviously, it's not the exaltation of the combinations. Aries might actually be happier with Capricorn, albeit there's 2 cardinal signs meeting here, so they both want to take the initiative. They both know the right way to think, the right way to go next. Each of them wants to be a leader. And it's a bit like the tortoise in the hare, because Capricorn will always outlast Aries. It's got this plodding determination, very far-sighted ambition, and it's got a 10, 20, 30-year plan, Capricorn. And Aries can't think 10, 30 minutes in advance, hardly, you know. Maybe they can put their kit together for a sports event, but they don't have any plans that go well into the future like Capricorn. So that difference between the Saturn attitude to time and the Mars attitude to time might actually put them into different dimensions. You've got the same dryness, the earth, fire dryness, which means that they don't really interact quite as much. And each of them, again, is totally confident about who they are. Capricorn, in a very strange way sometimes, they're either confident that they're the best or they're confident that they're the worst. They do have extremes of self-analysis. And Aries just doesn't do self-analysis. Why would you? You know, why would you stop to think when you can be doing something? So you get a mismatch, but a combination that would actually survive because of the differences in some ways. It's no chance either would get to understand the other, not deeply. They just have different rules of engagement. Capricorn engages forever and beyond, and Aries is just present in its limited attention span for an hour. And that might change momentarily. So they're not really in the same world. Now, Aries and Virgo have a tricky combination here, because not only the positive and the negative, but also the cardinal and the mutable, they're not like each other. And the quincunx relationship that I was talking about earlier is not the easiest. So Virgo would try and accommodate Aries. Virgo's likes to accommodate things. It's a mutable sign, down to earth, practical. Let's see what makes this work. I'll change this if you change that, you know, and if you won't change that, well, I'll change this anyway. They're very accommodating indeed. And Aries is just not going to notice that, just be doing what it wants to do. It's not the best of matches on some levels. Now, like I say, we're talking about maybe sun signs here, so there's other planets involved that would bring a relationship between a man and a woman into a deeper harmony. What we're discussing is not a man and a woman. We're discussing a zodiac sign and a zodiac sign. And you can apply that to man-woman relationships or any other kind you like. But it doesn't mean because you're Aries or Virgo that you are or not going to get on with the other. You might, and you might not. It would depend upon the other planets. But the zodiac signs of Aries and Virgo don't really see eye to eye ever. So Aries with the water signs, first of all Scorpio, which I've mentioned, fixed water, partly ruled by Mars. The Mars connection with the Aries would give them a certain rapport on the level of competitiveness. Both would like to compete and find that energizing and pleasing and engaging and involving. Scorpio's Pluto rulership would take it to a deeper level than Aries would normally go. And Scorpio can outlast Aries. It can outlast anything. Probably outlast Capricorn. It's just impossible to kind of overwhelm a Scorpio. It's Pluto. You don't overwhelm Pluto. So they've got this depth of emotional intelligence. They understand what's going on. Aries has none to speak of. What do I want? I'm doing what I want or I'm not. That's about the sum total of Aries' subtlety of emotional sensitivity, whereas Scorpio is just like, if I do that, then this, and if I do that, it's sort of chess game going on, moment by moment. They read every situation more deeply than anyone else, really. So you could find that Aries Scorpio work quite well because of this sort of Mars connection. And yet, once again, they're not going to really understand each other on the deepest level. Aries is fire. It's the beginning of things. It knows that without the start, you've got nothing. So it starts things. And it becomes clear to an Aries that unless it initiates, then nothing occurs. So Aries is totally confident in its ability to be the best, be the first at least. Be the hero, be the pioneer. And this is what its confidence is based on. And it's fine, it's valid. A very strong force in the world, the Aries force. It's what started us, of course. And yet Scorpio kind of gets to this level of knowing what death is. If Aries knows birth, Scorpio knows death. Things end. And you have to come to terms with that. And Scorpio has. It's absolutely come to terms with death, not only of the physical body, but also of things, of situations. Life doesn't continue things indefinitely. That wisdom is profoundly written within the understandings that Scorpio has. So Aries Scorpio, yeah, that can work. Aries Cancer, you wouldn't think it would, but I've seen it work. There is this aspect of Cancer which isn't much talked about. Cancer isn't fluffy and moon-like and soft and loving kids and being a loyal member of the family all of the time. It can do that, but in the absence of that being important at the moment, then there's this crusty, crab-like shell which is protecting its inner sense of self thoroughly. It's strong, and it can be very ambitious indeed. Not direct like Capricorn, but as strong as Capricorn, just in the indirect way, moving sideways like a crab sometimes, So Capricorn is not more ambitious than Cancer, I wouldn't say. So you've got this ambitious Cancer, you've got this dynamic Aries, and that is a good combination together. Each actually benefits from the other. Cancer can give Aries a purpose and soften its interface with the world. Aries can actually take Cancer into the realms of dynamism and turn its somewhat ineffectual ambition into something fiery and purposeful and energetic. So they can actually work quite well together. And of course they would have terrible, hurtful arguments. They wouldn't avoid them. They'd be head on, and they're both very emotional. Aries is more emotional than the three water signs, actually. And Cancer is very emotional. So you've got this very dramatic relationship that, yeah, you need to take the ups with the downs, really. And both signs like drama, so that seems to be okay. Aries with Pisces, yeah, that didn't really work very well, not to be honest. I mean, they don't understand each other, they never could. Pisces is quite willing to give up self in order to know the mystery of life, of God, of another, of the atmosphere of a moment. Pisces can just disappear, and that's what they love, and they don't know where they are quite a lot of the time, and what they're doing, and what's next, and what they've said they're going to do, and they don't care very much about integrating their dreaminess into a physical realm. And that can frustrate the hell out of Aries. Aries wants someone that knows what they're doing. Now, Pisces will be very accommodating and unjudgmental and supportive and building the Aries up and so on. So that's nice. The Aries likes to have that kind of support, and Pisces is perfect for that. But the lack of form that Pisces enjoys, the lack of structure, the lack of clarity, Aries doesn't like that. So I don't think Aries-Pisces works very well. And I repeat, this is between zodiac signs, not people. Any couple. I've seen all the couples that there are that could possibly arrive work. They all work if you make them work. But some of them are easier than others, and the Aries-Pisces combination is not easy. So there's Aries. Basically what we're saying, air signs, great. Fire signs, great. Maybe not Aries itself. Water signs, yeah, not really. Earth signs, not really. But both are possible. Both are possible. You can make it work.